Hello, everybody. We're welcoming back Ted Sevransky, professional sports bettor out in Las Vegas, and today we're going to talk about what we may have learned from the AFC and the NFC championship games yesterday. Ted, first and foremost, I hope you had a great weekend. Glad you're back with us. One thing I got to share real quick, what I learned about yesterday was that when Von Miller says, if I get 2 sacks, we're going to win, guess what? If he does it, they're going to win. That defense was absolutely in beast mode. Is there anything that caught you off guard or maybe something you didn't think would happen? Break it down for us and let us know out there what you may have learned from these games.
Sure. I mean, I come away with 3 main takeaways from the 2 championship games played on Sunday. And the first one's so obvious, and it's something we talk about all the time, and yet there it is on full display. If you lose the turnover battle, you don't win playoff games. You know, Arizona turned the ball over 7 times. New England turned the ball over. Denver did not. Lo and behold, who's in the Super Bowl? The 2 teams that forced the turnovers and didn't commit them, meaning Denver and Carolina. And, you know, it sounds so simple in retrospect, but if there's one element of football betting that stands above all the rest, if you can predict the turnover battle, you can usually predict the final margin and the ATS winner, and that was certainly the case this past weekend.
God, that's a good point. That's a good point and a good way to look at it. Was there a couple calls in the AFC game that Belichick, instead of kicking a field goal, going for it, did that kind of catch you catch you by surprise, Ted?
Not even a little bit. No. And, you know, all the Monday morning quarterbacking, Belichick should have kicked the first 2 field goals because then the third time all they would have needed was a field goal for the victory. Yes, but Denver would have played the game differently.
Yeah.
You know, Denver wouldn't have been in clock burn mode. It would have been a whole different game plan. And it's so easy to Monday morning quarterback. Oh, Belichick should have done it. Look, we respect coaches who are aggressive. Mm-hmm. We don't rip them after that aggression fails. In this instant, it failed. But why did it fail? It failed because of a missed extra point. You know, not because New England didn't punch the ball in the end zone. They did. But Gostkowski's first missed extra point in 9 years, boy, it had a pretty big impact on that ball game. Then they had to go for 2. The 2-point conversion failed. The Broncos survived and advanced. But from a coaching standpoint, look, you know, you can make the case. And one of the takeaways, I said there was 3. Second takeaway, yeah, we like to talk about the coaches, but the reality is the coaches don't matter.
Yeah.
They don't. You're not going to tell me that Kubiak's a better coach than Belichick, yet who got the money? Kubiak. You're not going to tell me that Rivera is a better coach than Arians. Who got the money? Rivera. Mm-hmm. Players win playoff games. Coaches get credit, but they may not deserve it.
I like that. I like that point. You know, another thing I learned also was that, Belichick and Brady both made comments after the game that was one of the best defenses they've ever faced. So to hear that from them too, you know it's genuine, you know it's unique. And I just thought it was kind of interesting how at the end of that game, Belichick kind of had that look on his face like he was going to, just dart off the field, but then turned and didn't. So, there's that sportsmanship, and I love it. It's a big part of it. All right, Ted, now let's break down this NFC game. And like you said, 7 turnovers for the Cardinals. I just did not see that coming whatsoever, and I was very, very disappointed in the secondary. What do you take away from that game, Ted?
Well, I talked that there were 3 main takeaways. Talk about turnovers being the difference maker. We talk about coaches not being the difference maker. Last but not least, we have to talk about the truly elite units. And you brought up Denver's a moment ago with the Broncos' number 1 ranked defense being the difference in that game. No defense in the NFL was better this year than Denver, and it certainly showed this past Sunday. We look at the other game, the Arizona-Carolina game. Well, what won that game? I mean, obviously the 7 turnovers, but my takeaway there, yeah, Denver's got the elite defense. How good is this Panthers offense? And specifically, is Cam Newton the best quarterback in the game right now? He certainly played like it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can make an argument for 14 other quarterbacks if you want. Cam Newton is the NFL's MVP this year. The best quarterback facing the best defense in the Super Bowl. Second place didn't cut it. And that was certainly the case for Arizona. Newton has been playing at an MVP level from day one this year. The offensive line's playing great. His receiving core, much maligned, is playing great. The running game with Jonathan Stewart, what's he got? 5 yards per carry here in the postseason against 2 really good defenses in Seattle and Arizona's. So, This is a Carolina Panthers team, and I'm going to throw out some numbers here, and you're going to go, what? Because no one's paying any attention to their offense, what Cam Newton is doing. Look, they've scored 27 or more points 15 times their last 16 games.
Jesus.
27 or more. They've hung 31 on 8 of their last 9 opponents. And yet I keep hearing this mainstream, Carolina, that offense, well, they're missing Kelvin Benjamin. You know? Like, what? What are you watching? The best quarterback in the NFL is in the Super Bowl against the best defense in the NFL. And guess what? Bests survive. Second bests do not.
You know what, Ted? Also, that crowd was so behind them yesterday. It was good to see because they're really embracing what's going on. One adjustment I looked for was the second half this week as compared to what they did last week, which was put nothing up on the board, and Seattle almost came back. I saw a more of an aggressive second half from that team yesterday, and I like that. I think that's a, kind of a good stage to be going into the Super Bowl with, that aggressiveness, that, heck with trying to shut down and just kind of play conservative. That doesn't cut it. But I am definitely one that has to take my hat off to Cam Newton. I waited all year, week by week, for him to be the old Cam Newton, do something stupid, make some mistakes, be that immature guy. Not one bit of that has even surfaced. So obviously he has matured, and my hat is off to him. So there's the breakdown. Is there anything else we need to add, Ted, before we move on to another video?
Let's, these games are already in the rearview mirror. There's something to be learned from them, but maybe not too much. But the markets have certainly reacted to Carolina's success yesterday. A betting market that has been disrespecting the Panthers all year long. All of a sudden, Carolina with another blowout, and this time they hold on to the blowout. Now the market's in love with the Panthers. Nothing but sharp money on Carolina from the opener, and that's been a very different story than what we've seen in recent weeks.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Ted, thank you so much for your breakdown. Viewers out there, grab this information, what we learned from this, and try to implore that in your next bet with the Super Bowl. Ted, thanks so much for being with us. I look forward to breaking down another one with you soon.